And uh, as I was contemplating on doing this video, I saw that Engin has released another video in response to Devon. The saga continues. I'll watch it later on. I won't go into the details because I don't want to be one of those people who just rehashes that type of content and drama. So if you want to watch that, let's all watch it on their channel. This video, however, is about something different, and in case you might have missed what has been happening, or in case you haven't watched my previous videos, I already discussed about this. I have videos where I'm discussing about how not every strength related metric necessarily translates on the table. Why on one hand arm wrestling is a strength sport, on the other hand is a combat sport, whether it's more of a combat or technique or a strength type of activity, and why people in the gym just pulling on weights and back pressure and pronation, supination, all that thing, cupping, working with rollers, with whatever handles, why that thing shouldn't be glorified or shouldn't be used in order to make assumptions or predictions or draw conclusions on future upcoming matches, and in general where two or more athletes are, at what level they are. So I talked about that already. And also you might have noticed, or you might have seen the videos where we had Vitaly with Ermes, the whole thing in the practice session. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just it means you've been living under a rock. Just check out some of my previous videos, or just open YouTube and search for Ermes versus Vitaly and whatever. So what do these two topics, very distinct topics, have in common? Well, for me, it's kind of like one proves the other in this latest chain of events, if you will. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that after the amazing sparring session that we all saw with Ermes, pinning Vitaly, and then Vitaly no longer losing to Ermes and pinning Ermes and whatever, the whole buzz was already discussed and rediscussed 1,000 times. They went into they had more videos up and coming. So after that whole thing with the practice session, they went into the weights room, and they started performing a variety of exercises that usually are kind of like the standard thing whenever athletes are visiting Dubai. I hope I do not mispronounce his name. His channel is Grip Awadi. Whenever Alawadi is inviting people over and stuff like that, he has he has his preferred exercises, or let's say like his own set of nice challenges, just to compare different people, like Schoolboy, like Devon, like Michael, like Khaled, like Ermes, Vitaly, and so on and so forth. So this brings us into what I wanted to say, that Vitaly, together with Larry and with Ermes and with Khaled, they went into the weights room. Also, Levon was there recently, and so on. So they went into the weights room and they started performing. They went through this whole circuit, this weight circuit, or grip related circuit that Alawadi has prepared for them. And if you judge their performance without thinking about what happened previously, just like minutes before they entered the weights room and they had the sparring session. Looking at the numbers, obviously Khaled was number one by far. No one was ever able to match any of his results on any of the exercises. Anthropomorphic data was also amazing. Khaled was having hands just as big as Vitaly, who's like this huge, ginormous human being. So Khaled had all the numbers working for him. Then I would say Vitaly was kind of like number two. Larry was kind of like number three, and Ermes pretty much took like the last place. I wanted to say he pretty much sucked without this being an insult. I'll tell you why, because this is exactly what I want to discuss. Weights wise and machines and grip exercises and grippers and dynamometers and dynamometer. How the fuck do you even say that thing? Anyway, with all of these things, I'm just a bit curious if Google has any stay with me.
Dynamometer.
And let's see with US.
Dynamometer.
Okay, it's like thermometer. I'm just way too tired at this point. So with all of these things that the guys were testing themselves with and stuff like that, Ermes pretty much sucked. Like he was unable to get good results in terms of numbers, or even with certain lifts where at least you had to engage in the lift and be able to lift the weight and budget off the floor. For some of them he couldn't. Mainly probably is because of his hand size or whatever. Doesn't matter. My point is, although he kind of sucked at the weights, look at what he did on the table just minutes before. He kind of dominated, and not just minutes before, but days before, when he was with Larry, and he was just toying with everyone. Hand control, world class, probably arguably number one, as agreed by also many other people after seeing those videos, and also knowing his results from the past, also from his match with Michael, where he just pinned Michael and Michael was never able to pin him properly. He just won by fouls. So here you have this guy who has, if not the most amazing hand control and wrist containment at this moment, but despite this, he's top tier. He's up there with all of the greats at this point when it comes to things like hand power and control and stuff like that. And he's dominating people on the table. And again, we are in this sport, so we're not in weightlifting or in bodybuilding or stuff like that. So we have Ermes just destroying everyone left and right, pun intended, left and right. While, in the gym, he has, let's say, not that good of a performance compared to the other guys. Also, not to mention compared to Larry, who's not even like an arm wrestler yet, and on the table, he's he's nowhere near the level where he can even withstand the pressure exerted by Ermes. And also, again, top dog was Khaled, who again, he's not really an arm wrestler. I mean, yes, he became famous on YouTube and stuff like that lately, but he's still nowhere near being a pro arm wrestler, and he had the most amazing results with the weights. Not taking anything away from those results with the weights, I'm just trying to say that this was a very good example of a session where back to back you could see that pretty much the best guy on the table, at least that day, at least in that poll or whatever, in that practice session, but even regardless of that practice session, we know he's up there with all of these amazing guys. One of the best on the table was one of the worst with the weights, and vice versa. I'm not saying Khaled was or would be the worst on the table, because in this case, out of those four, I think still Khaled would win against Larry. So probably Larry would be the worst on the table, but also, I mean, with the weights, he was somewhere in between. But Khaled was by far number one with the weights, and he would be again fighting with Larry for the third and fourth places, because obviously Vitaly and Ermes would have the number one and the number two, depending on who you think would be number one and number two. That's a different topic. But let's say on that day in that pool, Ermes looked like he was at least number one for that given, poll session or whatever. So yeah, kind of like opposite, sides of the spectrum. So again, if you're obsessing with weights, it's not necessarily a problem, because being strong with weights and with anything in general just makes you a very well-rounded person. But don't necessarily think that this will automatically translate on the table. So if you're improving your lifts by 10%, this will probably not be a 10% improvement on the table. If you're doubling the weight, for sure you haven't skipped tons of people, and you haven't skipped ahead in the line by that much. You haven't closed the gap by that much. So yeah, that being said, I'm not sure. So I'm sure about my opinion, but I'm not sure about your opinion. So let me know, guys, if you haven't seen all of these things that I talked about, first go see them. See the match between Ermes and Vitaly, then see Vitaly, Ermes, Larry, and Khaled together with Alawadi, going into the weights room, and see how they perform. See for yourself. Get your own opinion on the raw video, and then if you would like, please just share with me the opinion that you had about those two separate events, and also about what I talked about in this video, which is do you think that's one of those things that confirms what we kind of agree upon, probably some of us, that weights do not necessarily translate in better performance on the table? Or do you think that's just an exception that, I don't know, confirms the rule or something? I don't know. That's why I want you guys to engage with me in this this debate, this conversation. So if you like the video, click on the thumbs up. If you disliked it, thumb it down twice, and hate, troll, share, subscribe, unsubscribe, do whatever you feel like it's necessary. Just engage with me in some conversation and keep it civilized. Otherwise, I won't do anything. So, yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys thought about this, and Till next time, the psychotic dude in the outro just has to show up every now and then. So, goodbye, and see you next time.